Today on Tracey's Basement, I've got another Forgotten Folio. Welcome back to the basement, welcome to the channel if you've never been here before. Today I have another Forgotten Folio. So I did one of these last month. This is a pretty new service. It is kind of like a subscription service, but they basically send you recreations of documents and artifacts that come together to tell a story. So they send them to you over a few different months, and when you put them all together you should be able to kind of piece together this historical time, this story that they're trying to tell. And I thought it was a really interesting, different kind of a thing. And it's even more mysterious because I didn't sign up for it. I don't know why I've been getting it, but it is really kind of cool. And I will link to the first one that I opened last month if you are interested in checking it out. It might make a little bit more sense. If you haven't seen that, you might want to go watch it before you see me open this one, because they are supposed to kind of go together to tell this story. So yeah, you really should watch the first video first, but I'll do a quick recap. The first envelope had a memo from a Bailey Limited company, basically telling that their employees that they were changing their name and that they were going to be going through these documents, and they basically threatened legal action to anybody who so much as breathed on any document related to a Pat Bailey. So that was the first document. The second document was a transcript of a early internet chat room conversation with somebody trying to speak to a lady named Ada, who apparently knew something about this Pat Bailey. Didn't really get into much more than that, but that was basically what was going on. This person who actually represented a group of people trying to talk to this lady named Ada. And the final document was a page ripped from a book that shows Morse code. There's the lettering, and International Morse code, it says on both sides, and Army lettering. So this one was the interesting one, and it was confusing because I didn't really know where it fit in, and I wanted to show it to you guys again quickly before I get into the second one, because it wasn't until later after the video that I noticed that there is in fact writing on the back side of the page here. It is extremely light. It almost looks like somebody wrote it in pencil and then tried to erase it, so that's why I didn't notice it at first. But you can see dots and dashes, so it looks like somebody was listening to a Morse code message and writing it down. And then they tried to translate it here, and I might not have this perfect because it is extremely hard to read. It's extremely light and it is very poor penmanship. But more or less, it says September 15th of 46, at 300 hours, somebody found something odd at 7.15 hertz on the H-band. So they were listening to a radio and they heard this. Message repeats, security issue, question mark, contents sensitive, intel, and there's a part at the bottom that says that a memo should be drafted, but the rest of it is pretty much illegible. It's just head scratch. But I wanted to quickly go over that first because I did miss it in the first video, and it might have a little bit of give a little bit more of an intel into what's going on with whatever is in the second package. So let's get into this second one. I think this is late. We have been having so much trouble with Canada Post lately, and they decided that my address didn't exist again, and things have just been taking forever to show up. So this is almost 2 months, I think, since that first one, so I thought it was supposed to be monthly, so I'm thinking that maybe either they tried to send it back according to that note, or it just took forever like everything else has been. But this should be the second addition to that first one that is telling the story. We have the lovely lettering, of course, and the wax seal. I just find the wax seal super cool. So let's break into it, see what we have for the second part of this story. Okay, first thing fell out on me. Repacked. lot, date March 13th, 1945, consisting of Cal 30 Ball M2. No idea. It looks like some kind of a punch card. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. If you guys have any idea what that could possibly be, maybe it's marking like in a storage facility or something like that. Because it does say lot, and the lot number is kind of smudged out there. So there you go. Whatever that is meant to be. And we have several pieces of paper here. So let's see what we got. Okay, we have another memo. So just like the memo that was in the last one, it's on like track printer paper, old style, and it's like all smudged up and dirty, so it looks super old. They really do a good job on their recreations. So this is from Mr. Mateo Rodriguez and to Mr. Charlie Williams. Charlie, this is such a bogus work assignment. All that time spent at Intel and I am not programming. All those conferences and all those English lessons, and still, am I helping this great Canadian company with the worldwide network? No, I am filing. They help with my citizenship, they help me move my family to Ajax, and this is all I can do for them. Absurd. This guy is very upset. This takeover has been bad news from the start. I know what you will say, that I should come to the university, and you know what? You are not wrong. All day I am looking up files and sorting files and printing files for a bunch of businessmen all the way out in Germany. All of my projects are on hold, nothing else gets done. I just had to stop for a second because he mentions Germany, and in the first memo, if you didn't watch the first video, there was this word about that long that I could not pronounce, and I was guessing that it was German because it was so many consonants. All day I look at documents from old Pat Bailey, so we got Pat Bailey again. Everything from requisition orders to schematics. I shouldn't even look at some of these, and Pat shouldn't have them. A bunch marked confidential from Camp X during his time in the war. I found files in the local network, all from Pat and all in code. Morse code. Thank God I don't have to decode them. So there's your Morse code again. I will send along one for you to see that I am not complaining without reason. And speaking of reason, I must ask a favor from you. You still know people who work at the engineering campus? I found a bunch of old plans from when Pat worked there. Looks like a contract between Bailey Engineering and federal government. Schematics for huge machine, looks like a computer of his own design. Used small punch cards for some reason. Could you verify? Would help me in sorting through all this damn paperwork to know what this was. Many thanks, adios Mateo. Punch card. Okay, so this was for the machine that they are referencing in this memo. There you go. Pretty cool. Next we have more printer track paper. And there you go. A whole bunch of Morse code. So nothing for me to read to you there, unless you want to wait a year for me to try to translate it. There you go. Page and a half of printed out Morse code. So that's good. I kind of want to try to translate it, just for fun. It'd probably take a while, but that's kind of neat. Okay, so we got a bunch of Morse code, so that's what he was talking about in the letter there. And finally, we have some more of the chat room conversation. So I'm just going to skim over this a little bit since it is actually 3 full pages, and then I'll give you a rundown. Okay, so this is from the same chat conversation as previously. This guy named Steven is trying to talk to this woman named Ada. And basically, what it comes down to is that Ada is telling Steven about how she knew Pat. And what I'm understanding is that Ada lived in Germany, and she was just a kid when she picked up some messages from Pat's machine, which is called RockX. It looks like rocket, but with an X instead of a T. And it was a sophisticated cipher machine. And apparently she translated his messages, and the result of that was that he ended up taking her over to Canada under the guise of that she was a cryptology prodigy, and she left her family behind, came to Canada, and was going to work for him or something like that during wartime. So that is basically the conversation that is being had here, and Steven is saying how amazing it was that she was able to decrypt these codes and everything. So it's all about codes and Morse codes and cryptology, and it's during the war, and this is really interesting. I gotta say, this is very interesting now that it's starting to make a little bit more sense. It's starting to come together. The first package was cool, but by the time I read everything, I had no idea. I was like, what is this all supposed to mean? How does it go together? This package, combined with that package, is really starting to actually build a story that I can kind of put together what's going on. So this is really, really interesting. I'm really enjoying it so far. I think it's a really cool, different kind of a service, especially if you are interested in history, or you like just like true stories, or you like, you know, artifacts and these recreations of documents. They're just so neat. They're so different. So if you're interested in checking out this idea for yourself, it's called Forgotten Folios. I will leave some information in the description box below. I'm really interested to see what the next package is going to be, because it's starting to come together. It's starting to come together and make something, and that's really, really cool and interesting to me. I'm really liking this. So guys, let me know what you thought of this Forgotten Folios package. If you haven't already, go back and watch the other videos so that you can kind of link all this stuff together. Check out the link in the description box below if you want to check out Forgotten Folios for yourself. If you've enjoyed the video, please give me a big thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat at Tracey's Basement. Links in the description box below. And of course, as always guys, keep coming back for more Tracey's Basement. Bye!